Hi everyone, this is Arvind from MindMajix, and today I welcome you all to this amazing session on data analyst interview questions. So guys, in this particular video, we will be covering roughly around 25 questions. And once you go through these questions, so the answers or the discussions that we are going to have around these questions, so they will serve as a revision for you, and you can also analyze your preparation by going through these questions. So without any further delay, let's get started with our first question. So the first question over here is, what are the primary responsibilities of a data analyst? So guys, there are a few responsibilities of a data analyst that you must understand. And a data analyst is responsible for all of the data related information and the analysis which is needed for the staffs and the customers. A data analyst is someone who's very useful at the time of audit. So data analyst plays a very crucial role when the audit of the organization takes place. A data analyst is very capable of using statistical techniques and providing suggestions based on the data that we have. Mostly, when you analyze the data as a data analyst, so you will be covering or you will be gathering a few insights. And based on those insights, you can provide suggestions to the organization or to the customers or other stakeholders. A data analyst is always focused on improving the business process and always strives for the process optimization. A data analyst works with the raw data and provides meaningful reports for the managers and other stakeholders. Data analysts are responsible for acquiring the data from different sources, such as primary and secondary, so that they can harvest one common database. So these were some of the primary responsibilities of a data analyst. The next question is a very important question. What are the prerequisites for an individual to become a data analyst? So guys, if you want to become a good data analyst, so there are a few skills or prerequisites you can also see that you must have in order to become a skilled data analyst. So data analyst is someone who has good understanding of business objects and the reporting packages. Next, he has good knowledge on the programming languages such as R or Python, then XML, JavaScript, and various other databases such as SQL and NoSQL databases. Apart from this, a data analyst should be well versed with data mining, segmentation, as well as clustering techniques. A data analyst should have enough experience in analyzing large amounts of data sets, and he must also have good amount of Excel skills. So these are some of the prerequisites for an individual to become a good or a skilled data analyst. The next question is, what are the different steps which are available in an analytics project? So guys, whenever you're working on an analytics project in the organization, so there are a few steps which are essential, and these are the steps that you must follow in order to successfully execute that project. So those steps are, as you can see on the screen, the first step over here is definition of the problem. So guys, it is very important to understand the definition of the problem. So what are you trying to achieve? Like, what is your problem statement, or what is the problem that you're trying to solve using the data that is available? Okay, so this is the very important step. And once you successfully execute this step, then I can assure you that half of your problem is already solved. Then comes the data exploration or exploring the data. So most of the times you already have the data for the problem that you're trying to solve. And in some cases, you must also, try to fetch the data or gather the data for solving a problem. So gathering data or fetching the data can be done using various techniques. And just to give you an example, what you can do is you can scrape the data from the web. So web scraping is a procedure to fetch the data. Once you have the data, then comes the data preparation. So what you do over here is you try to analyze the data and you see the consistency which is required for your next step, which is the data modeling. So basically, in preparing the data, what you do is you clean the data. You remove all of the inconsistencies and ambiguities which are present in the data. Next comes the data modeling step. So here you have the data with you, and now you try to prepare the data models. So what is the purpose of data model? Using data models, what you do is you try to check the input and the output of the model that you prepare. Okay. So after this comes the validation of the data. So based on the data model, you try to understand whether you are on the right track to solve the problem that you have. So this is the validation of the data, and you try to cross check the feedback. And the last step over here is tracking and implementation. The next question is, what does data cleansing mean? So guys, data cleansing or data cleaning is one and the same thing. So during this process, the inconsistency that is identified is sorted out, and all the possible errors are also taken care during this process. So all of these steps focus on improving the quality of the data. The next question is, what is logistic regression? So the logistic regression is nothing but one of the regression models that is used for data analysis purpose. So this type of regression method is called a statistical method, where one of the data elements is an independent variable that ultimately helps you with the outcome. The next question is, list out the popular tools which are used for data analysis. So guys, as you can see on the screen, these are some of the popular tools which are used for data analysis. So the first over here is Tableau. Then you have Google search operators. Next is Google Fusion tables. Then comes Solver. And then you have the Node Excel. Apart from this, there is a very important tool which you can mention over here is Power BI. So Power BI these days has been very popular. And as you all know, Power BI is from Microsoft. Apart from this, there are also libraries from Python, which you can mention over here, which are called Python, NumPy, and Pandas. The next question is, what is data mining? So data mining is a process where it focuses on cluster analysis. It is considered as a process of analyzing large data sets, and out of which they will be able to identify unique patterns and also help the user to understand and establish a relationship to solve any obstacle through analysis of data. So data mining is also used to predict the future trends within the organizations. And guys, the next question, a very important question, which is linked to the previous one. What are the 4 stages of data mining? So guys, as you can see on the screen, these are the 4 stages of data mining. The first one is data sources. So over here, you can gather data for mining purpose from multiple sources. And the second step is data exploration or data gathering. So once you gather the data from multiple sources, then you start exploration of the data. And next comes the modeling of the data, where you prepare models out of the data. And the final step is deploying the models. So building models is not just enough. You also have to deploy those models to test whether they are trying to solve the problem and whether they are feasible or not. The next question is, what is data profiling? So data profiling is nothing but a process of validating or examining the data that is already available in an existing data source, so that the data source can be existing database or it can be a file. The main use of this is to understand and take an executive decision whether the data that is available is readily used for other purposes. The next question is, what is the day-to-day challenges that can actually affect a data analyst big time? So guys, the most popular challenge that is faced by almost every data analyst is the data cleaning process. So here you try to maintain the consistency of the data, and there can be many issues with the data that you have, such as common misspelling, duplicate entries or ambiguous data, overlapping data, and missing values. So it is very important for a data analyst to handle these issues. And once these issues are tackled, so the data is consistent and you can proceed to the next step. The next question is, what is the name of the framework which was completely developed by Apache Foundation for handling large data sets? So guys, Hadoop and MapReduce are the programming frameworks that were developed by Apache Foundation, where large sets of data for an application can be processed under a distributed computing environment. The next question is, what are the two data validation methods that are actually used by data analysts? So the two data validation methods that are most frequently used by data analysts are data screening and data verification. The next question is, what is collaborative filtering? Explain with an example. So collaborative filtering is nothing but a process or an algorithm that actually helps the user with recommendation-based responses to the user based on analyzing user behavioral data. And the most important components of collaborative filtering are users, items, and interests. So just to give you an example, if we have to explain collaborative filtering, then we can consider our browsing history pattern. Based on our browsing interest pattern, we will be getting recommended products for you, advertisements, while you're browsing online shopping sites. So next time when you see some of your browsed products that are shown in the form of advertisements, you must remember that it is a form of collaborative filtering process. The next question is, what is MapReduce? So the MapReduce is nothing but a programming model where it is associated with a process, implementation, and also analyzing large chunks of data sets parallelly. So using this technique, large data sets are segregated into small chunks of data, which are analyzed further parallelly to yield the outcome or the result. The next question is, what does clustering mean? So clustering is defined as a process of grouping a definite set of objects based on certain predefined parameters. So this is one of the value-added data analysis techniques that is used industry-wide while processing a large set of data. The next question is, what are the applications that are based on clustering algorithms? So the most commonly used applications that are based on clustering algorithm are, as you can see on the screen, climatology, robotics, mathematical analysis, and statistical analysis. The next question is, what are the properties of the clustering algorithm? So there are various properties of clustering algorithm such as hierarchical, iterative, hard and soft, and disjunctive. The next question is, what is imputation process? The imputation process is nothing but a process of replacing missing values from the data, and you replace these values with substituted values. So there are two types of imputation techniques that are available, such as single imputation and multiple imputation. The next question is, what is the standard for having a good data model? So the criteria or standard for having a good data model is, first, it should be in a form where it can be consumed very easily. Next, even if it is dealing with larger data sets, the model should be scalable. So based on the data that you have, like the size of the data, your model should be easily scalable. Next, the data model should have a predictable performance. The next question is, list out the tools that are used in big data analytics. So guys, the most frequently used tools for big data analytics are, as you can see on the screen, here you have Hadoop, Hive, Pig, Flume, Maut, and you also have Spark. And as I've told earlier, there are various libraries which are available in Python programming language that you can use, such as NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and you also have a PySpark framework. The next question is, what are the must-have skills for an individual to be a value-added data analyst to the organization? So there are a few skills for an individual which will provide value to the organization as a data analyst. And those skills are, as you can see on the screen, predictive analytics or predictive analysis. Then you have presentation skills and you have database knowledge. So if you talk about predictive analysis, so this is a game changer with process improvisation. And if you talk about presentation skills, so this is vital for an individual to make sure that they are able to showcase a face to their data analysis. So this can be done by using some of the reporting tools. And these are the reporting tools that we have seen earlier, in our previous questions. And third point over here is database knowledge. So a good data analyst is someone who has good hold or strong command over database knowledge, and the database can be SQL based and NoSQL based. So in case of SQL databases, you have MySQL, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, and so on. And in case of NoSQL, you have the most popular one, which is MongoDB. The next question is, what is the best way to deal or tackle multi-source problems? So the best way to deal with multi-source problem is, what you can do is you can restructure the schemas that are available, and then you can identify the similar records and make sure that they are combined into a single record. The next question is, what is data screening in the data validation process? So data screening is a process where the entire set of data is actually processed by using various algorithms to see whether we have any questionable data. So these types of values are handled externally and thoroughly examined. The next question is, list out few best practices that are followed when it comes to data cleansing. So there are some best practices that you must follow when it comes to the data cleansing. The first step is you need to define and follow a standard verification process of evaluating the data even before getting it into the database. Next, identification and handling duplicate values so that the data accuracy is always maintained. And there is a need to develop a quality data plan which actually focuses on identifying any possible errors and also learn from the mistakes and constantly improve the plan. The next important question is, what is meant by K-means algorithm? So guys, K-means clustering is an unsupervised learning algorithm that is used to solve clustering problems in machine learning or data science. The K-means algorithm is one of the famous partitioning methods as well. So within this, the objects belong to a specific K group. So within the K-means algorithm, the clusters are actually a sphere. So all of the data points within the cluster are actually centered in the cluster. The spread or the variance of the cluster is pretty much similar. The next question is, explain the concept of hierarchical clustering algorithm. The hierarchical clustering algorithm is nothing but a process where it actually combines and divides the existing groups. So based on this hierarchical structure, the groups are assigned to a specific order and structure. So guys, with this, we have come to the end of this session on data analyst interview questions. I hope you guys have enjoyed this session. If at all you have any doubts or queries related to this session, then you can write them in the comments section, and my team is here to solve all your doubts and queries. So guys, thank you so much for being with us, and I wish you all the very best for your upcoming data analyst interview.